The transport ship cut through space toward the research station. Inside, 12 warriors prepared for combat. 6 Kalthari warriors checked their heavy armor and energy weapons. 6 humans checked gear that looked primitive by comparison. Kang Daehyun wore light body armor that would barely stop a blade, let alone an energy weapon. Park Minji carried weapons that required her to get close to enemies, putting herself in danger. The other humans were similarly equipped for close combat, for personal risk, for putting their fragile bodies directly in harm's way. Commander Vexthara watched them prepare with growing confusion. Back at the academy during training, the humans had seemed relaxed, playful. They joked while hurting each other. They smiled while bleeding. Now approaching real combat, he expected them to be serious, focused, tense. Instead, Kim Tae-woo was making jokes. Yoon Seo-jin was humming a song from Earth. Choi Ji-won was doing stretches that looked more like dance moves. They seemed even more relaxed than during training. "Are you not worried?" Vexthara asked Kang Daehyun. Daehyun looked up from checking his weapons. "About what?" "The mission. The danger. The pirates are Skrell. They are known for brutality. They will not show mercy." "Neither will we," Daehyun said simply. He went back to his equipment check. Battlemaster Zorn, who had joined the mission with 4 of his Draxian students, moved closer to Lee Hae-yoon. She was sitting with her eyes closed, breathing slowly. "You meditate before battle?" Zorn asked. Hae-yoon opened one eye. "I am visualizing the mission, seeing the movements, preparing my mind. You do not seem afraid." "Fear is natural," Hae-yoon said. "I respect it, but I do not let it control me. We have trained for this. We know what we can do. Now we just do it." 20 minutes from the target, Vexithara gathered everyone for the briefing. The research station had 62 civilian researchers inside. 40 Skrell pirates had seized control. The pirates were demanding ransom and safe passage, but Galactic Coalition policy was clear: no negotiation with pirates. "The station has 3 entry points," Vexithara explained, showing a hologram. "We will split into 3 teams. My Kalthari warriors will take the main entrance. Battlemaster Zorn's team will take the cargo bay. The humans will take the maintenance shaft." One of the Kalthari warriors spoke up. "Commander, the maintenance shaft is the most dangerous route. Small spaces, many corners, easy to ambush. Should we not send our strongest warriors there?" "We are sending our strongest warriors," Vexthara said, looking at the 6 humans. "They just do not look like it." The transport ship docked at a safe distance. The teams moved to their entry points. Vexthara watched the humans slip into the maintenance shaft access. They moved quietly, efficiently, with none of the hesitation he had seen in even veteran warriors before combat. Park Minji led the way through the narrow shaft. Behind her came Kang Daehyun, then Yoon Seo-jin, Lee Hae-yoon, Kim Tae-woo, and Choi Ji-won at the rear. They moved in perfect silence. Through his communication device, Vexithara heard them breathing, steady, calm, like they were taking a walk instead of entering a combat zone. The shaft opened into a utility corridor. Park Minji held up a fist, signaling stop. She tilted her head, listening. Footsteps. 2 Skrell pirates approaching. The pirates were large beings covered in thick armor, carrying energy rifles. They were talking to each other in their harsh language, laughing about something. They did not expect any threat. Park Minji stepped out into the corridor. The pirates saw her and raised their weapons. Before they could fire, she was moving. Her speed was shocking. She closed the distance in heartbeats, ducked under the first rifle, and drove her palm into the pirate's throat. He dropped, gasping. She spun, caught the second pirate's weapon arm, and used his momentum to flip him over her hip. He hit the ground hard. She followed with a knee strike to his head. Both pirates were down in under 5 seconds, silent, efficient, deadly. "Corridor clear," Minji whispered into her comm. The team moved forward. They encountered 2 more pirates. Lee Hae-yoon and Kim Tae-woo took them down with strikes so precise that the pirates had no chance to call for help or fire their weapons. The humans moved through the station like ghosts, leaving unconscious pirates in their wake. Vexithara's team, meanwhile, was engaged in a firefight at the main entrance. Energy bolts flew. The Kalthari warriors used their heavy armor and superior strength to push forward, but progress was slow. The pirates had prepared defenses. "Human team," Vexthara called over the comm. "Can you flank them?" "Already moving," Daehyun replied. The 6 humans circled through the maintenance corridors. They found a position above the pirate defensive line. Below them, 8 Skrell pirates were firing at Vexithara's team, completely focused on the front attack. "Drop in 3. Daehyun whispered to his team. 2. 1. 6 humans dropped from above, landing among the pirates. What happened next would be studied in combat schools for years. The humans did not use their weapons first. They used their bodies. Choi Ji-won landed behind a pirate and immediately applied a rear choke, cutting off blood flow to the brain. The pirate dropped in seconds. Yoon Seojin broke a pirate's knee with a low kick, then used the falling body as cover to strike another pirate. Lee Ha-yoon moved like water, flowing between 3 pirates, striking vital points that dropped them without killing. Park Min-ji and Kim Tae-woo worked as a team, one high and one low, taking down pirates with combinations that looked choreographed, but were simply the result of training together for years. Kang Dae-hyun moved through the center like a storm. Every pirate that came near him fell, not because he was stronger or faster individually, but because his technique was perfect. His timing was flawless. His control was absolute. In 30 seconds, 8 pirates were down. None were dead. All were unconscious or too injured to fight. The humans had not used their weapons once. Vexthara's team pushed through the now broken defensive line. The commander looked at the unconscious pirates, at the humans who were already moving to the next objective. "How?" Vexthara asked. "Practice," Daehyun said simply. "We have done this thousands of times in training. This is just doing it again, but with real stakes." Battlemaster Zorn's voice came over the comm. "We have secured the cargo bay, but there is a problem. The hostages are all in the main laboratory. 20 pirates are guarding them. They have set explosives. If we attack directly, they will detonate and kill everyone." Silence on the comm for a moment. Then Lee Ha-yoon spoke. "Send us," she said. "We can get inside." "How?" Zorn asked. "The laboratory has only one entrance and it is heavily guarded." "Ventilation system," Choi Ji-won said. He was studying his datapad. "The lab needs air circulation. The vents are too small for Kalthari or Draxians, but humans can fit." "Even if you get inside," Vexithara said, "you will be 6 against 20, in a room full of hostages, with explosives ready to detonate." "Commander," Park Min-ji said, and her voice was cold. "When we were playing, we pulled our punches. We showed control. We followed rules." She checked her weapon. "These pirates hurt civilians. That is not playtime anymore." The 6 humans moved through the ventilation system. The space was tight, barely wide enough for their shoulders. They crawled in complete silence, using hand signals to communicate. Through a vent grate, they could see the laboratory. 62 scientists huddled together in the center. 20 Skrell pirates surrounded them, weapons ready. Explosives were placed around the room, blinking with countdown timers. The pirate leader was making demands over a communication system, threatening to detonate if his ransom was not paid. Kang Dae-hyun looked at his team. He held up 3 fingers. On 3, they would attack. He counted down silently. 3, 2, 1, 6. Vent grates burst open simultaneously. 6 humans dropped into the laboratory. The pirates turned in surprise, but surprise was all they had time for. What the watching scientists witnessed was precision violence. The humans moved with purpose. No wasted motion. No hesitation. Every action was efficient and devastating. Park Min-ji took down 3 pirates before they could react. Her strikes were surgical, targeting nerves and joints that shut down her enemies instantly. Lee Ha-yoon disarmed 2 pirates with movements so fast they looked like magic. Their weapons clattered to the ground and they followed a moment later. Kim Tae-woo and Yoon Seojin worked together, creating angles that made it impossible for pirates to shoot without hitting each other. They exploited this, moving through the confusion like predators. Choi Ji-won went straight for the explosives. He moved with perfect economy, disabling devices while simultaneously defending himself from 2 pirates, a kick that blocked a weapon, an elbow that stunned an enemy, all while his hands worked on the explosives. Kang Dae-hyun fought the pirate leader. The Skrell was larger, stronger, better armed. None of it mattered. Dae-hyun moved inside the pirate's guard, too close for the rifle to be useful. He struck the weapon free, locked the pirate's arm, and put him face first into the floor in one smooth motion. 18 seconds after dropping into the laboratory, all 20 pirates were down. All explosives were disarmed. All hostages were safe. The scientists stared in shock. One of them, an elderly researcher, finally spoke. "What are you?" she asked in wonder. Yoon Seojin smiled as he checked the hostages for injuries. "We are humans. We are from Earth. And we have been training for this our whole lives." 3 days passed before Commander Vexithera requested a private meeting with the humans. The video of their demonstration had spread throughout the galactic network like a virus. Military analysts from a dozen species had downloaded and studied it. The conclusion was always the same and always terrifying. Humans were dangerous. Not despite their fragility, but because of it. The meeting took place in a small conference room. Vexithara arrived alone without his usual group of Kalthari warriors. He looked different somehow, smaller. His scales had lost some of their shine. Kang Daehyun greeted him with a respectful bow. Park Minji offered water. Lee Hae-yoon gestured to a seat. The commander sat down slowly, like he was much older than he appeared. "I owe you an apology," Vexithara said. His voice was quiet, missing its usual boom. "I judged your species without understanding. I saw weakness where there was strength. I saw foolishness where there was wisdom." "No apology needed," Daehyun said. "You did not know." "But I should have asked instead of assumed." The commander's clawed hands clasped together on the table. "I have been warrior for 70 years. I have studied combat arts from 30 species, but I have never seen anything like what you showed us." Yoon Seojin leaned forward. "What confused you most?" Vexithara thought about this. "You hurt each other, deliberately, repeatedly, and then you smile about it. You help each other stand after throwing each other down. You thank the person who just hit you in the face." "In my culture, this makes no sense." "How does your culture train?" Kim Tae-woo asked. "We use simulations," Vexithara explained. "Computer programs that create virtual opponents. We also drill techniques against practice dummies and compliant partners who do not resist. Impact is always minimized. Injury during training is considered failure." Choi Ji-won nodded slowly. "That explains much. You have never needed intense training because you are naturally formidable. Your species evolved strength. You were born with advantages, and you were not," Vexithara said. "It was not a question." "No," Lee Hae-yoon said. "Humans are weak compared to most species. Individually, a Kalthari warrior could break any human in direct combat. Your strength is too great. Your natural weapons are too sharp. You are simply better built for fighting." The commander looked surprised. "Then why are you not afraid? Why do you train so hard if you know you are inferior?" Park Minji smiled. "Because we refuse to stay inferior. We cannot change our bones or muscles. We cannot grow scales or claws. So we do the only thing we can do. We practice, we suffer. We push our bodies to limits that would break most species. We teach ourselves to endure what others cannot. But why?" Vexithara asked. "Why endure such pain?" Kang Daehyun stood and walked to the window. Outside, alien students were training in the courtyard, moving through careful, controlled drills that involved no real contact. "On Earth," Daehyun said, "we have a saying, iron sharpens iron. One blade makes another blade sharper through friction, through grinding against each other. We apply this to ourselves. We sharpen each other through conflict. But the pain," Vexithara insisted. "The blood. The injuries. When Park Minji was cut above the eye, she just kept fighting. How?" Minji touched the cut, which had been cleaned and sealed but still showed. "Because pain is temporary. The lesson it teaches lasts forever. That cut taught me I dropped my guard. I will not forget. My body will remember even when my mind does not." Yoon Seojin added, "We have another saying on Earth. What does not kill you makes you stronger. Every bruise, every break, every injury that heals leaves us more resilient than before. We practice breaking so we know how much we can take before we truly break." "And the smiling?" Vexithara asked. "The laughing? You seem to enjoy hurting each other." Lee Hae-yoon shook her head gently. "We do not enjoy the pain. We enjoy the growth. We enjoy pushing past our limits. And we enjoy the trust." "Trust?" "Yes," Hae-yoon said. "When Kim Tae-woo punches me in the face, he is showing trust. He trusts that I can take it. He trusts that I will learn from it. And I trust him to stop before causing real damage. We put our bodies in each other's hands. That creates a bond stronger than any simulation could make." Battlemaster Zorn entered the room at that moment. He had been listening from the doorway. "Forgive my intrusion," Zorn said, "but I must know. How do you have the control? When you fight, you are trying to damage each other, yes?" But you stop at the exact moment before serious injury. How is this possible? Choi Ji-won stood up. May I demonstrate on you, Battlemaster? Zorn's forearms tensed, but he nodded. Proceed. Ji-won moved behind Zorn and placed his hands on the warrior's thick neck. I am going to apply a choke now. A blood choke that will make you unconscious in approximately 8 seconds. I need you to tap my arm when you want me to stop. Can you do this? I can, Zorn said, though he sounded uncertain. Ji-won's hands moved. The pressure was immediate and precise. Zorn felt his vision beginning to narrow, felt his balance shifting. Panic started to rise. He tapped Ji-won's arm frantically. The pressure released instantly, completely. Ji-won stepped back, giving Zorn space to breathe. You felt that? Ji-won asked. The moment before you would have lost consciousness. That is the line we practice finding. We walk up to that line every single day. We learn exactly where it is through experience. You can only learn this by doing it for real. Zorn rubbed his neck, amazed. You could have put me to sleep but stopped exactly when I asked. This level of control This is what we train, Daehyun said. Control, not violence. Violence is easy. Any being can learn to hurt others. But to have the power to hurt and choose not to know exactly how much force is too much, that requires practice with real pressure, real pain, real consequences. Commander Vexathera stood up. He walked to the window and looked out at his Kalthari students training below. Their movements were powerful but careful, controlled but safe, effective but sterile. We have trained wrong, Vexathera said quietly. For thousands of years we have trained wrong. Not wrong, Minji said. Just different. Your species did not need our methods. You evolved advantages that we do not have. But now, in a galaxy where many species must work together, perhaps there is value in learning from each other. The commander turned around. Would you teach us? Teach Kalthari warriors your methods? The humans exchanged glances. Kang Daehyun spoke carefully. We can teach you modified versions. But Battlemaster Zorn is correct. Your bones are stronger than ours. Your muscles are denser. What is training for us might be gentle play for you. You would need to adapt the intensity. And the spirit? Vexathera asked. Can that be taught? Lee Hyun smiled. The spirit must be discovered. But we can guide you. We can show you how to push past comfort, how to embrace controlled suffering, how to sharpen your blade against other blades. Over the next week, something changed at the Galactic Combat Academy. Park Minji started teaching modified human martial arts to interested aliens. The classes were popular, though many students struggled with concepts that seemed natural to humans. A Quillan student asked why they should practice being hit when they could practice avoiding being hit. Minji explained that you must know what being hit feels like, so you can train your body to absorb impact. The Quillan tried this once, took a light punch to the stomach, and quit immediately. But some species adapted. The Draxians, who already valued combat ability, took to it with enthusiasm. Battlemaster Zorn became one of Minji's best students, his forearms allowing for complex grappling that humans could not achieve. Even the Kalthari, after their initial shock, began to see value. They started training with more contact, more intensity. Commander Vexathara himself attended Kang Daehyun's classes, willing to be a beginner despite his decades of experience. The humans also learned from the aliens. Lee Hyun studied Draxian weapon forms that used 4 limbs. Kim Tae-woo sparred with Kalthari warriors, learning to use their superior strength against them through better technique. Choi Ji-won worked with engineers from other species to build better training equipment. News of the changes reached Galactic Coalition Command. Military observers arrived to watch the new training methods. Some were skeptical, others were interested. All of them were impressed by what they saw. Yoon Seojin became famous for a statement he made to a reporter from the Galactic News Network. We are not the strongest species, Seojin said. We are not the fastest or the smartest. But we might be the only species that practices bleeding. We are the only ones who train by hurting ourselves on purpose. That makes us unique. Maybe it makes us crazy, but it also makes us ready. The interview went viral across the galaxy. The species that practices bleeding became a nickname for humans. Some species said it with fear. Others said it with respect. A few said it with admiration. Then, 6 weeks after the demonstration, an alert came through to the Academy. Pirates had attacked a civilian research station in the Outer Rim. 60 hostages were being held. The pirates were Skrell, a vicious species known for taking no prisoners and showing no mercy. The Galactic Coalition needed to send a rescue team immediately. They needed warriors who could fight in close quarters, who could move fast, who could make split-second decisions under pressure. Commander Vex Ithara was assigned to lead the mission. He had the choice of selecting his team from any warriors at the academy. Park Minji moved first. Her right leg snapped up in a roundhouse kick that cut through the air with a sharp whistle. The kick was aimed at Lee Hae-yoon's head, moving at a speed that should have been impossible for someone with such thin leg bones. Hae-yoon ducked under the kick, dropping low and sweeping at Minji's standing leg. Minji jumped, tucking her legs up, and threw a punch downward as she descended. Hae-yoon rolled away, the punch missing her face by inches. They separated, reset, and went again. In the observation deck, the aliens sat in complete silence. What they were watching did not make sense. Commander Vex Ithara leaned forward, his confident smile fading. "This is their play?" he muttered. The two human women moved like water flowing from one position to another. But this water had teeth. Kicks flew at speeds that cracked the air. Punches were thrown with force that compressed the atmosphere into visible distortions. Every movement was trying to damage, to hurt, to break. And then Lee Hae-yoon caught Park Minji's kick. She twisted, using the leg as a lever, and threw Minji across the mat. The smaller woman hit the padded floor hard enough to make a sound like thunder. The impact would have broken bones in most species. Minji rolled with the throw and came up smiling. "Nice," she said. She was breathing hard but looked happy. "Your timing has improved." In the observation deck, a small chitter alien made a clicking sound of distress. Master Corvin put a comforting hand on the insectoid's shoulder. "Wait," the old instructor said quietly. "Watch what happens next." Minji and Hae-yoon went again. This time Minji closed the distance fast, getting inside Hae-yoon's guard. She grabbed Hae-yoon's uniform top and dropped backward, placing her foot in Hae-yoon's stomach. As she fell, Minji pulled Hae-yoon over her in a Tomo Nage throw. Hae-yoon flew through the air and slammed into the mat on her back. The sound echoed through the chamber. She lay there for a moment and several aliens gasped, thinking she was injured. Then Hae-yoon laughed. Actually laughed. She rolled to her feet, breathing hard, and touched her back. "I landed wrong," Hae-yoon said. "That one hurt." "Sorry," Minji replied. "Want to stop?" "No way. One more round." They bowed again and continued. Battlemaster Zorn's 4 hands gripped his seat. His stone-gray face had gone pale. "This is madness," he whispered. "They are trying to injure each other." "No," Master Corvin said from behind him. "Watch their eyes. Watch how they control their strikes. They are trying not to injure each other, which is far more difficult." The demonstration continued. After 5 minutes of what the humans called light sparring, Minji and Hae-yoon stopped, breathing hard and sweating. They hugged, patting each other on the back. "Good work," Minji said. "You too. That kick almost got me." They walked off the mat, and Kim Tae-woo stepped forward with Yoon Seojin. Both men were pulling on padded gloves. The gloves were open at the fingers, only covering the knuckles and back of the hand. "Boxing practice," Tae-woo announced cheerfully to the watching aliens. What happened next would be analyzed in xenopsychology courses for the next decade. Tae-woo and Seojin touched gloves, a gesture of respect. Then they started punching each other in the face. Not pretend punches. Not simulated strikes. Real punches with real force aimed at the head, landing on flesh and bone with sounds like meat hitting a table. Tae-woo threw a jab that snapped Seojin's head back. Seojin answered with a hook that caught Tae-woo on the temple. They circled each other, feet moving in rhythm, and continued to punch each other deliberately in the most vulnerable part of the body. In the observation deck, an alien vomited. Several others covered their eyes. Pip's fur had turned pure white with shock. Commander Vex Ithara stood up from his seat. His scales had gone pale. "Stop this," he said, but his voice was quiet, uncertain. "Stop this madness." Down in the chamber, Tae-woo and Seojin did not stop. They punched each other for 3 minutes straight. Then they paused, breathing hard, blood running from split lips and cut eyebrows. "Good round," Tae-woo said. His nose was bleeding, maybe broken. "Want to go again?" "One more," Seojin agreed. They touched gloves and continued. By the 3rd round, Tae-woo's nose was definitely broken. The angle was wrong, shifted to one side. He paused, reached up with both hands, and reset his own nose with a crunch that made half the aliens in the observation deck look away. Then he kept boxing. "I cannot watch this." a verdant delegate said, its leaves trembling. This is not training. This is mutual murder. No, Master Corvin said, his voice carrying through the shocked silence. This is trust. All eyes turned to the old instructor. He pointed down at the two humans who had just finished their rounds and were now laughing together, comparing bruises. They trust each other completely, Corvin explained. They trust their partner to push them to the edge of injury without crossing that line. They trust themselves to endure the pain, and they trust that this suffering will make them stronger. I have never seen anything like it. Choi Ji-won stepped onto the mat next. The quiet engineer held up training knives, rubber blades that could not cut but could still hurt. Defensive techniques, Ji-won said calmly. Who wants to attack me? Kang Dae-hyun and Park Min-ji picked up knives and moved to opposite sides of Ji-won. Then, following some unspoken signal, they both attacked at once. What the aliens witnessed next was even more disturbing than the boxing. Ji-won moved like a ghost, flowing between the two attacks. He redirected Dae-hyun's knife strike, using the momentum to throw the larger man over his hip. He caught Min-ji's wrist, twisted it in a way that made her drop the knife and locked her arm at an angle that should have dislocated the shoulder. He released her before damage occurred. Both attackers came again. Ji-won defended using techniques that targeted joints, pressure points, and vital areas. His movements were precise and controlled, but the intent was clear. These techniques were designed to break bodies. The engineer is the most dangerous one, Battlemaster Zorn said quietly. Look at his efficiency. No wasted motion. Every action serves a purpose. They repeated the drill multiple times, increasing the speed and complexity. By the end, Ji-won was defending against 4 attackers at once. He succeeded. Commander Vexathara sat back down. His hands were shaking slightly. Their play is our warfare, he said. What do they do when they actually fight? Nobody answered. Kang Dae-hyun called everyone back to the center of the mat. Full contact scenarios now, he announced. The gauntlet first. The humans formed 2 lines facing each other with a gap in the middle. Lee Ha-yoon stood at one end of the gauntlet, preparing to run through. The other 5 humans would try to stop her using any means necessary. Ready? Dae-hyun asked. Ready, Ha-yoon answered. She exploded forward. Kim Tae-woo tried to tackle her low, but she jumped over him. Hyun Seo-jin grabbed her from the side, but she twisted free. Park Min-ji intercepted her with a shoulder check that sent both women tumbling, but Ha-yoon came up running. Choi Ji-won caught her in a grip, but she spun and broke free. Kang Dae-hyun, the last defender, set his stance to stop her. They collided like vehicles crashing. Both went down in a tangle of limbs. Ha-yoon ended up on the bottom, pinned. Got you, Dae-hyun said. This time, Ha-yoon replied. She was smiling despite having just been slammed into the mat by a man who outweighed her by 50 pounds. They ran the drill again, and again. Each person took turns being the runner. Each time bodies slammed into mats, into walls, into each other. Each time the humans got up smiling, laughing, offering hands to help each other stand. The aliens watched in horrified fascination. Next came ground fighting. Min-ji and Tae-woo demonstrated Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, a grappling art where the goal was to strangle your opponent unconscious or break their limbs until they surrendered. They did this to each other repeatedly. Min-ji wrapped her legs around Tae-woo's neck in a triangle choke. He tapped the mat frantically after 10 seconds, face turning red from lack of air. She released him immediately. He coughed, caught his breath, and said, "Good. You held that better than last time." Then it was his turn. He caught her arm and extended it in a lock that put terrible pressure on her elbow joint. She tapped. He released. They reset and went again. They practiced techniques designed to kill, Master Corvin said, but they practiced them with control, with care, with respect for their partner's safety. This is the most sophisticated training system I have ever witnessed. Battlemaster Zorn could only nod, unable to speak. The final demonstration was full mixed martial arts sparring. The humans paired off and fought with striking, grappling, takedowns, submissions, everything together. They wore small gloves that protected the hands but still allowed maximum damage to the opponent. Park Min-ji took an elbow strike from Hyun Seo-jin that opened a cut above her eye. Blood poured down her face, running into her eye, dripping onto the mat. She wiped it away casually with her forearm. "Nice one," she said, smiling through the blood. And then she kept fighting. 3 more rounds. Blood streaming down her face. Not bothering to stop and fix it because this was normal. This was expected. This was play. In the observation deck, Commander Vexithera had stopped watching. His head was in his hands. Battlemaster Zorn sat frozen, his forearms hanging limply. Pip was crying quietly. Master Corvin held the small alien, whispering comfort. After an hour, the humans finally stopped. They were covered in sweat, bleeding from various cuts, sporting bruises that were already darkening on their skin. News of the demonstration spread through the academy like fire through dry grass. By morning, every alien student knew about the challenge. The humans were going to show their combat play. Commander Vexithara had announced it during breakfast, his voice full of amusement. "Come watch the mighty humans play their games," he had said to a cafeteria full of aliens. "See how the weak species of Earth entertains itself." By noon, over 200 aliens had signed up to watch. Some came because they were curious. Others came because they wanted to see the Kalthari commander prove human weakness once and for all. A few came because they genuinely liked the humans and wanted to support them. Pip, the small mammalian Quillen, squeezed through the crowd to find Park Minji. The little alien barely reached Minji's waist, covered in soft fur that changed colors with emotion. Right now that fur was showing worry, shifting from blue to purple. "Minji," Pip said quietly, "I heard the Kalthari talking. They plan to mock you. They have placed bets, 50-1 odds that you quit in 5 minutes." Minji knelt down to Pip's level. She smiled warmly and placed a hand on the small alien's shoulder. "Thank you for warning me, friend. But do not worry. We know what we are doing." "But Commander Vexithera is so strong," Pip said, "and Battlemaster Zorn is so skilled. They will use this to hurt your reputation." "Maybe," Minji said. "Or maybe they will learn something." In the human quarters, 5 people were preparing. Kang Daehyun sat on the floor, wrapping his hands with white cloth tape. Each wrap was precise, covering his knuckles and wrists with practiced ease. He had done this thousands of times before. Yoon Seojin arrived carrying a large medical bag. He was shorter than Daehyun but built like a block of concrete. Before joining the academy, he had served as a para-rescue specialist, jumping into war zones to save wounded soldiers. He had seen more broken bones and torn flesh than most doctors. "I brought the full kit," Seojin said, setting down his bag, "including the serious trauma supplies." "We will not need those," said Lee Haeun from the corner. She was stretching, her legs extending into splits that would be impossible for most species. Her background was in traditional Korean martial arts, though she had trained in many other styles over the years. "We are playing, not trying to kill each other." "Still," Seojin said, "better to have them." Kim Tae-woo walked in carrying 3 large equipment bags. He was grinning, which usually meant trouble. Tae-woo had boxed since he was 8 years old. He loved fighting the way some people loved music or art. To him, getting punched in the face was fun. "I saw the alien betting pools," Tae-woo said, dropping the bags. "They think we will quit in 5 minutes. Some are saying 3 minutes. One Kalthari bet we would run away crying." "Let them think that," Daehyun said. He finished wrapping his hands and stood up. "Jiwon, did you check the chamber?" Choi Jiwon looked up from his datapad. "All systems ready. Gravity set to 1 standard Earth G. Safety barriers are active. Medical sensors are monitoring. I also installed some extra padding on the walls." "Why the walls?" asked a voice from the doorway. Battlemaster Zorn stood there, his forearms crossed. His gray stone-like face showed curiosity rather than hostility. Unlike Commander Vexithera, Zorn was a professional warrior who respected all combat arts, even ones he did not understand. "People sometimes hit the walls," Jiwon said simply. "It is part of the game." Zorn's eyes widened slightly. "You throw each other into walls? For play?" "Sometimes," Minji said. She was pulling on protective shin guards. "Not always. It depends on the game." The Battlemaster walked closer, looking at the equipment the humans were preparing. He saw padded gloves in different sizes, mouth guards made of hard plastic, cups for protecting sensitive areas, wraps for hands and feet, strange foam pads for elbows and knees. "This is armor," Zorn observed. "You protect yourselves." "We protect the important parts," Tae-woo said. He was shadowboxing, throwing punches at the air. "But not everything. Some impact is necessary." "Necessary for what?" "For learning," Haeun said. She had finished stretching and now stood in a relaxed, ready stance. "Pain teaches. Bruises remind. Injuries inform. We need to feel the consequences of mistakes. Zorn absorbed this information. In Draxian culture, combat training used simulations and low-impact drills. Actual injury during practice was considered wasteful. Why damage your warriors before they faced real enemies? I do not understand, Zorn admitted. Why hurt yourselves during play? Daehyun looked at the battlemaster with respect. At least this warrior asked questions instead of making assumptions. Because play is practice, Daehyun said. And practice must be realistic. If we train soft, we fight soft. If we train with real pressure, real pain, real consequences, then we are ready for real combat. But your species is already fragile, Zorn said. Why make yourselves more vulnerable? Before anyone could answer, a new voice called from the hallway. Because that is how Deathworlders think. An old alien shuffled into view. This was Master Corvin, one of the Academy's senior instructors. His species lived for 300 years and Corvin was in his final century. His skin was wrinkled and gray and he moved slowly, but his mind was sharp. Everyone stopped to bow respectfully. Master Corvin had fought in wars before some species even achieved spaceflight. He commanded respect from all. Master, Zorn said, what do you mean by Deathworlders? Corvin moved to a chair and sat down with a grunt. His old eyes studied the humans carefully. I looked up Earth's planetary classification last night, Corvin said. I had suspicions, but I wanted to confirm. Earth is rated Class 12 hazard on the Galactic environmental scale. The humans exchanged glances. They knew this, of course, but hearing it said out loud always sounded dramatic. Class 12? Zorn repeated. But that means Earth is a death world, Corvin said. One of the most hostile environments in known space. Gravity at the upper limit for sapient life. Weather systems that generate destructive forces capable of leveling cities. Predators that hunt in packs. Microorganisms that can kill in hours. Volcanic activity. Earthquakes, tsunamis. And somehow humans not only survived this nightmare world, they thrived on it. Seojin smiled. Home sweet home. Master Corvin pointed a thin finger at the human. Your species evolved under pressure that would break most sapient races. Your bodies adapted to survive constant threat, and now you stand here among aliens who think you are weak, preparing to show them how you play. Will you watch, Master? Minji asked. I would not miss it, Corvin said. I think the others need to understand what they are about to see. In the observation deck above Gravity Chamber 3, aliens gathered in excited groups. Commander Vexthara sat in the front row, surrounded by his Kalthari warriors. They laughed and joked, making predictions about how quickly the humans would quit. Behind them, other species found seats. The insectoid chitter people whispered among themselves. The aquatic melon delegates watched through fluid-filled helmets. The plant-based verdants stood silently, their leaves rustling with curiosity. Pip had saved a seat for Master Corvin. The old instructor sat down slowly, his face serious. Master, Pip whispered, are the humans going to be okay? I think, Corvin said quietly, that the humans will be fine. I am more concerned about everyone else's mental state after watching this. Down in Gravity Chamber 3, the 6 humans stood in a circle. The floor was covered with thick mats. The walls had fresh padding. Medical sensors blinked from the corners. Everything was ready. Kang De-hyun looked at his companions. Lee Hyun was rolling her shoulders. Kim Tae-woo was bouncing on his toes. Park Minji was breathing slowly, centered and calm. Yoon Seojin was taping up his hands. Choi Ji-won was checking everyone's equipment one last time. Remember, Daehyun said, this is demonstration. We show them how we train. We show them our play, but we also show them control. Understood? Understood, 5 voices answered. The lights in the observation deck dimmed. Spotlights focused on the chamber below. 200 aliens leaned forward in their seats. Commander Vexthara smiled his predatory smile. Daehyun stepped to the center of the mat. His voice was calm and clear. Thank you for coming. You asked to see how humans play, how we train for combat through recreational activity. What you are about to see might seem strange. It might seem violent, but I promise you this is how we have fun. He paused, looking up at the watching crowd. Okay, everyone, Daehyun said to his fellow humans. Let us play tag. Park Minji and Lee Hyun bowed to each other. They smiled. They moved to opposite sides of the mat, and then they exploded into motion. The aliens froze in their seats, unable to look away. The training hall of the Galactic Combat Academy was bigger than 3 football fields put together. Metal walls reached up to a ceiling so high that clouds could form inside. Bright lights shone down on practice mats where alien warriors from across the galaxy trained their bodies and minds for combat. Kang Daehyun stood at the edge of the main training floor, watching his students work through basic drills. He was a quiet man with dark hair cut short and eyes that missed nothing. His body was lean and strong from years of training. Back on Earth, he had served in the Korean Special Forces for 10 years before joining the academy. Now he taught hand-to-hand combat to aliens who had never met a human before. Next to him, Park Min-ji adjusted the straps on her practice gloves. She was smaller than Daehyun but moved with the grace of a dancer. Her background was in mixed martial arts and combat piloting. She could fly a ship through an asteroid field or throw a grown man twice her size. Right now, she was doing neither. She was watching the Kalthari warriors show off. The Kalthari were massive beings, standing over 7 feet tall with scales that shimmered green and gold under the lights. They came from a world with gravity 3 times stronger than Earth. Their muscles were dense as steel cables. Their bones were practically unbreakable. For 200 years, they had dominated every combat sport in the known galaxy. Commander Vexithara was the largest Kalthari in the academy. His scales were darker than the others, marked with scars from 100 battles. He stood in the center of the mat, demonstrating a throwing technique to a group of younger aliens. His voice boomed across the training hall. "Observe the proper form," Vexithara said, lifting a practice dummy that weighed 300 pounds. "Leverage and strength must combine. This is true warrior craft." He threw the dummy across the mat. It hit the ground with a heavy thud that echoed through the hall. The alien students made sounds of approval. Some clapped. Others bowed their heads in respect. Choi Ji-won walked up to stand beside Daehyun and Min-ji. He was the engineer assigned to maintain the training equipment, but everyone who knew him understood he was much more than that. Ji-won had studied every martial art he could find since he was 5 years old. He just preferred fixing things to fighting. "He is showing off again," Ji-won said quietly. "Let him," Daehyun replied. Words mean nothing. But Vexithara had already noticed the 3 humans watching. He turned toward them, his reptilian eyes focusing with predatory interest. A smile spread across his face, showing rows of sharp teeth. "Ah, the humans," Vexithara said loudly. "Come to learn from real warriors?" The training hall went quiet. Dozens of alien students stopped their practice to watch. This had been building for weeks. The Kalthari commander made no secret of his opinion about humans. He thought they were weak, soft, primitives from a backwater planet who had no business in a galactic military academy. Daehyun kept his face neutral. "We are here to train, Commander. Same as everyone else." "Train?" Vexithara laughed. It sounded like rocks grinding together. "Your species has been in the coalition for only 15 years. My people have been warriors for 15,000. What could you possibly teach us?" Park Min-ji crossed her arms. Her jaw tightened, but she said nothing. Daehyun had taught her that silence was often the best response to insults. Another alien stepped forward. This was Battlemaster Zorn, a Draxian warrior with 4 arms and gray skin like stone. The Draxians were born fighters, raised in a culture where combat ability determined social status. Zorn had been watching the humans for days, studying their movements with professional interest. "The commander raises a fair point," Zorn said, his voice deep and measured. "We have studied your species. Your world has low gravity. Your bones are thin. Your skin tears easily. You evolved as persistence hunters, yes? Chasing prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. This is not the background of warriors." Choi Ji-won made a small sound in his throat. It might have been a laugh. Daehyun touched his arm gently, a signal to stay calm. "Is something amusing, human?" Vexithara asked. He took a step closer. Even from 20 feet away, his size was intimidating. "Perhaps you disagree with the Battlemaster's assessment?" "No disagreement," Daehyun said calmly. "His facts are correct. Then you admit your weakness?" "I admit our history." Vexithara's smile grew wider. He spread his arms, addressing the entire training hall. "The human admits it. Their species is not suited for combat. They should leave warrior training to those born for it." Murmurs spread through the crowd of alien students. Some looked uncomfortable. Others nodded in agreement. A small mammalian alien named Pip, who had befriended the humans, looked worried. Park Min-ji uncrossed her arms. She stepped forward before Daehyun could stop her. "Commander," she said, her voice clear and strong, "you want to see how humans train for combat?" Vexthara turned his full attention to her. I have seen your training, simulations, light contact drills. Very safe, very gentle. That was formal training, Minji said. You have not seen how we play. The word hung in the air. Play. Several aliens made confused sounds. Battlemaster Zorn tilted his head, curious. Play? Vexthara repeated. You jest with me? No jest, Minji said. On Earth, warriors train by playing. We have games, fun activities, things we do to relax and enjoy ourselves. She paused. Would you like to see? The commander's eyes narrowed. He sensed something beneath her words, but his pride would not let him back down. Not in front of his students. Not when a human half his size was challenging him. Very well, he said. Show us your play. Tomorrow at 1400 hours. Gravity Chamber 3, we will all watch these human games. Agreed, Minji said. She bowed slightly, a gesture of respect that made Vexithara's smile falter for just a moment. The commander waved a clawed hand. Dismissed. Return to real training. The alien students slowly went back to their practice. Vexithara and Battlemaster Zorn walked away together, speaking in low voices. Daehyun heard Zorn say something about easy victory and establishing dominance. When they were alone, Choi Jawan looked at Park Minji with raised eyebrows. Did you just challenge the most dangerous warrior in the academy to watch us play? He asked. Yes, Minji said. Are you insane? Daehyun smiled. It was a small smile, barely visible, but it was there. He pulled out his communication device and started typing a message. Who are you contacting? Jiwon asked. Yoon Seojin. Kim Tae-woo. Lee Ha-yoon, Daehyun said, still typing. If they want to see us play, we should give them a proper demonstration. All of them? Jiwon's eyes widened. You are planning full contact? They asked for playtime, Daehyun said. He hit send on his message. The words were simple. Code Thunderdome. Bring the gear. Full contact. No restrictions, Park Minji grinned. Tomorrow is going to be interesting. Across the training hall, aliens continued their careful, controlled practice. They had no idea what they had just asked to see. They thought human play would be gentle, weak, proof of human inferiority. They were about to learn what it meant to evolve on a death world. They were about to learn that when humans played, they played for keeps.